Welcome in, everybody, to the Creed of Crypto. My name is Rope Crypto. I have here with me, as always, my friend and co-host, Crypto Ewok. Welcome to everybody here in the chat on this beautiful Wednesday evening where lots of things are going on in the world of cryptocurrency. Most of it, scams and rugs. And we're going to get to what they are tonight because they all take place on Solana. We're going to talk about it. You see it in the thumbnail, a cycle reset, maybe? Solana, man, I mean, we've seen weird stuff go on with that chain before. We've seen it obviously literally turn off at least 15 times, I want to say, at this point. But now we've got international meme fraud scams happening in Argentina, not in Argentina, but on the blockchain representing Argentina. We're going to get to what that is all about, as well as Dave Portnoy, who is pretty much just launching a token a day and rugging it and apparently not paying any penalties whatsoever. It's pretty interesting. And will it be the dawn of Ethereum and PulseChain finally pumping, even if it's a little wee flaccid, you had to take a blue chew to get it to even, pop up a little wee bit. Even if we can get a little wee baby pump, we'd appreciate that. 2 pump chump. Welcome to everybody in the chat tonight. Crypto 7 let everybody off. Appreciate you being here, man. Valiant Low Key. We got D-Jin, Moonboy, The Rat. Always love it when The Rat shows up, and Scrubhead. The Rat and Scrubhead. Those are my two favorite names, and they're always there right away. I think I may have already said Valiant Low Key. Daddy Hexter, welcome back, man. Good to see you here. We got a great show for you guys tonight. A lot of weird stuff happening in the world of crypto. I know, Ewok, it was tough for you to keep up with some of it the last couple of days, but and me as well. I mean, President's Day kind of not really doing a whole bunch, but yeah, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on. But here we are, 1 week about left in February. We got ETH at $2,700 somehow. Bitcoin's at 95, 96K right now. How you feeling overall? How you feeling about the markets tonight, Ewok?
I'm feeling good. Like you said, I've had an employee that's been out for 2 weeks and been covering for them, and not just haven't been really paying a lot of attention to what's going on in the world. And it's funny because it is that time of year, that time of the cycle where it doesn't matter if you step away for a little bit. You're really not missing much. I said to you earlier, I said I just hate the drama stuff, and I think that's what a lot of this is, the Solana drama, and we don't pay attention to Solana a whole lot anyway. We get a lot of people complaining or about the rug pulls over there. We hear a lot of that, but sometimes it's good for people to, unfortunately, get burned once or twice before they get serious about investing in the real DeFi stuff. And that's what we've been promoting over here for a really long time. So hopefully, not to mention, there's a bunch of money that's been coming out from FTX. So I think $800 million, I heard the other day, was released. And that's just a fraction of what's to come out. So hopefully some of it can find its way over here. We preach loud enough and stand by the principles that is true DeFi, and we don't have the VCs, and we don't have all the El Presidentes doing the things that that are going on in the world. So yeah. Other than that, like I said, I've been missing a little bit, but keeping up with what's really important, and that's the price that hasn't done a whole lot. So here we are.
Yeah, as long as Ethereum's where it's at, just not all that much of things happening. But let's get into the bigger part of the market. We'll look at BTC and ETH real quick. BTC is just over 96K. We got ETH just over 2,700. It's still basically at its lows as far as its ratio against Bitcoin. We are in late February here, and Bitcoin's been chilling out in this zone for a while, and it certainly kind of feels like we're going to get a move up here shortly. I mean, that's a good bit of consolidation here for a few weeks we've had with Bitcoin. So, I mean, nobody with the Bitcoin price over the last, just the action on Bitcoin over the last year should really be upset at all. And we're just really seeing this consolidation here. It's totally normal and looks very good for the bull market. Ethereum, meanwhile, again, bled even more over the last couple of weeks, not looking good against Bitcoin. And we really need to see that start to perk up. It again, talking about a baby chub there a little bit ago. It seems like we're getting that just a little bit with Ethereum here. I don't even want to acknowledge it. I'm in my swearing off Ethereum, and it's failed this cycle, and it sucks, and all that stuff to try to get it to move up. But it is maybe ever so slightly perking up. But I mean, you can feel it. I mean, the consensus with everybody out there is all in on Solana, down with Ethereum. It's just Bitcoin and Solana. Why? Because that's what the results have been over the last year. So it's not really all that hard to say that kind of stuff. That's also why people come to our channel and shit all over us and act like we're idiots and all this stuff, because we talk about something that hasn't been appropriately valued the entire time. It's just always been down. So of course, they're just telling you what you already know. The price is low. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. But what do you make of where Bitcoin's at right now? The fact that ETH is where it is this late in the game does make me wonder, like, if we could see some moves into 2026, or if we're just going to get a more violent move up more quickly, because it seems like the clock is ticking a little bit on Ethereum. So yeah, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I don't think it's ticking quite yet. I just don't think it's happened. Remember, most of this stuff moves 6-8 weeks, which is really only 2 months. So, we don't know when it's going to happen, but it usually rockets in that short period of time. And historically, April has been the top. That was what it was last cycle, the first top anyway, before it retraced and then made a secondary, all-time high. But you mentioned to me the other day, you're like, holy crap, the GWE is like 70.
I think it was Monday,
whatever day that was, but usually that's one of the first signs that, hey, we're getting some activity, something's going on, it's getting busy. Before the price goes up, the chain gets busy, the GWE goes up. So that's one of the leading indicators that I've seen and noticed in the past when things are starting to kind of turn up. And sure enough, we look at the ETH chart and it did. In the last couple of days, we've gone from low 2500s, so now we're hanging out up in the 2700s. So that's a quick $200 move. It's not chump change, but it's not what we're looking for either. So don't forget, what was it, Monday, February 3rd, it was 2100. So that's only 18, or that's only 16 days that we've made a $600 increase in price. So there are some positives to look at. There's some good things. I still believe that this is being held back while people are buying it up. I think the bigger corporations that are looking into these ETFs are buying as much ETH as they possibly can and possibly manipulating the price. So whenever the supply side of things dry up, there's not going to be much left, and they're going to have to buy on the market. So keep that in mind. I don't think it's far off. And we're going to see a run from Bitcoin too. All of this consolidation is, it's in the same trend, up and down. I told you this would be sideways for a while, and exactly what we're seeing. So good consolidation. It's still looking healthy. We haven't broken any major levels of support at all. ETH has broken a few. But it was pretty much down there. It has been down there. So again, we get a little bit of strength out of this, some higher lows, and just continue to stair step. Again, when the supply runs out for these bigger people that are trying to buy up some massive bags, it's going to have no choice but to run. And I think it's only a matter of time.
And we did say this last week, like you were talking about, suppression of the price and because of the ETFs and things like that. We obviously know that the Trumps have been buying this hardcore, buying Ethereum over the last few weeks, months. And it's funny, we brought this up last week, but I saw these like mainstream crypto influencers saying, Trump's buying, all these people buying like large amounts of ETH. What do they know that we don't know? And it's like that the price is irrationally low. That's it. There's not like some big secret. It's that while you're buying the top of Solana and buying Trump the day after it launches, or Melania or Dave Portnoy's 68th fucking degenerate idiot token, people are buying Ethereum because it's dog shit in price. Like I said, it's the same thing as people coming to our channel all the time and talking about like, oh, PulseChain sucks. What are you guys doing or whatever? It's like, yeah, the price sucks. That's why it should be bought, not the one that already went up. But.
Right. We're talking value, right? People
Yeah.
need to look for where the value buy is and what is underpriced and undervalued. Right now, it's ETH, PulseChain, a lot of the ones that we talk about. So,
yeah,
I still think Bitcoin's a little overvalued at this point. But it's still bouncing around in that range where hasn't done a whole lot since early. What was it? Heck, when it made this run back here in October.
Yeah.
September,
Yeah,
October.
that's really going into the election is really when we got.
It hasn't done much of anything. So
again,
you got to really look to see where the value buys are, where as opposed to where you think it's going to go to get the most X's from your money. And Ethereum, PulseChain, Hex, all of those are super undervalued right now.
Yes, definitely. Well, that's where we are at with the mainstream market. Real quick, I wanted to get your take on this and highlight the thanks for the super chat, DJ Moonboy. He's talking about a 6K. I saw 5K.
I saw 8K.
Okay, that just tells me none of it's going to happen. But this stimmy check idea, I don't want to get way too into the topic, but just the fact that basically the savings that apparently the DOGE department under Elon is discovering with investigating these government entities and organizations that are not necessary and laying people off or whatever it is they're doing, that they're going to try to pass those savings on in checks to American taxpayers, which would be awesome. I was seeing 5K, but if there's different ranges, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be fantastic. It would obviously help stimulate the economy, and a lot of it would go right into crypto, which would be amazing. And it would be great because you're not only getting rid of red tape, government bureaucracy bullshit, but also helping enrich your citizens. So I tend to be a gigantic skeptic with stuff like this. I'll believe it when I see it, but it's a cool idea. It'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, you actually weren't around then, but at the very beginning, I think it was April of 2020, we got our first round of stimulus checks. It's one of the things that popped Hex off for that first run that lasted all the way through the following year. So
right,
I remember the memes. If you had put your $1,200 stimulus check in Hex, it would be worth whatever at this point. So
$1,200.
Exactly. Now well, right now maybe
there you go, the goddamn camera. Go ahead.
Sorry. Way to go. But so it's just one of those things that can easily kick off a bull run. Now, is this going to happen in the next month or so? I doubt it. But again, who knows? I don't know what the plan is. I haven't heard any kind of date. I just know the massive amounts of things that they're finding where money has been spent in the most crazy ways. You've got all the Social Security. The one big misunderstanding, let's talk about that real quick, is the Social Security database. Elon posted that, and it showed the ages of people that were marked as not deceased. He never said anything about all of them getting benefits. It was just a database of all the numbers in the Social Security database that were, still supposedly alive. And there were ages in there over 300 years old. And it's just crazy to see the millions of people that were over 100. We know, I think there's 88,000 people maybe that are over 100 years old at this point, but showing millions of them. So who knows if there were being payments made, checks sent out, somebody was claiming them, whether there were illegals using these numbers, something happening. But I found that very, very interesting that, there were over 380 million Social Security numbers registered, and we're only supposed to have 330 million in our population. So
right. Yeah.
Just interesting stuff coming about. I find it quite fascinating.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to continue to too. So something like this has never really happened before. So yeah, we'll keep monitoring it, and whatever whatever Elon is able to pass on to us, I'll definitely take. We'll get Valiant low key. I'm glad to hear that. We're going to get to your comment about Coast here in a bit. I appreciate that. Let's look at the PulseChain prices right now. So they suck as usual, pretty much. We are at 4 zeros and a 445 for Pulse. Pulse X, of course, still ridiculously strong against Pulse. It is 4 zeros, 355. We have incentive. I didn't even really say this to you today because it's becoming a common occurrence, but we had the incentive inflation supply cut again last night. It was cut for like a third time last week, and then last night, even another small percentage. So we are continuing to see the incentive token inflation decrease and the price go up in the interim. It's at $2.38 now. And we forget, I mean, that's a 2x off of where it was not even 2 weeks ago. Hex is at 1.3 cents and EHEX at 00348, basically. So what do you make of where we're at? I know on the Pulse chart, I mean, we definitely must have a lot of support at that 4.2 number-ish or so, 4.1, 4.2, 4, whatever, because, you know, when we've seen volatility over the last week or two, we've seen it just get bought right back up at that region. There was a somewhat large hex sell today, and I saw Pulse just bounce right off of there. It's happened a few times now. Hopefully that means we're not going to go through it to the low side, obviously. But yeah, we continue to find support at that region. So I definitely find that encouraging. And obviously Pulse has been doing well against Ethereum, partially because Ethereum's also been horrible over the last month. But yeah, looking at the Pulse chart anyway, I mean, what do you see? Because that does look like a big level of support here.
Yeah, the support goes the whole way back to, June of 24, where this was one of the first times it got defended, and then it sold through it, but made its way back up, became support again in September, then again in October, November, January, a couple times, and again here, just in the last couple of days. So yeah, it's about 4.3 something, right around there, 4.3, 4.4 area. Seems like there is a lot of buy pressure, a lot of support. Somebody's defending that price very nicely. So yeah, I mean it's holding. So let's it's done a couple times. You got a couple 1, 2, 3 candles that pretty much came right down on it. So and it's coming back up now. We'll see how this daily candle closes out, but so far so good. It looks like it's holding strong.
Yeah. We pretty much just been hanging out around there for a while now. And obviously, I think in like times like this where maybe if you are stressed about the price, and I've been a lot like you, Ewok, where I'm kind of just not looking at it. I mean, and I don't even just mean Pulse. I mean, Ethereum too. I mean, as long as you realize that with Ethereum where it's at right now, most of these altcoins and the entirety of crypto are not going to go anywhere. So
right,
you might as well just look at Ethereum. And as far as the Pulse price, if you're skittish and looking at it in USD, look at it against Ethereum because it's basically bottomed there and only gone up a little bit recently. So,
yep.
Any solace you can find. But we need Ethereum to go up. I mean, altcoins are just not going to go up otherwise. So, yeah.
We do. And I was looking to see if Pulse X had any kind of support like that, and it really doesn't. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the other tokens that may be dragging it up with it just because liquidity is tied so heavily. This is the USD price. So, yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot. There's support at 2.6, 2.6 or so. Back here, but we haven't even gotten that low. So Pulse X looking really good.
Yeah, and it has for quite some time. I mean, it's obviously run hard against Pulse and then done well in the USD chart as well. So it's been the biggest winner, if anything, in this ecosystem really overall so far. So yeah, looking good. We just got to keep holding that level and keep hanging out. I mean, I'm open to the idea that, some of this could push into 2026 and just looking at Ethereum, like all these people that have been out of shape about the Pulse price. And I get it. It's been a tough 4 years or whatever, but like look at everything else. It's like, look at some of the big altcoins from last cycle. Like you have Phantom like rebranding as Sonic, and they're out there. I saw talking shit about PulseChain today on Dex Screener when a lot of their activity on their chain is not organic at all. But I mean, you have all these tokens that are just absolutely wrecked still because Ethereum is $2,700. It's not just
Right.
PulseChain, but anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Incentive. I didn't hear that the inflation got cut again. I've been out of the loop a little bit. You said last night they took another chunk.
Yeah, I don't think it was as much, but yeah. I think it's just to the point now that it's been happening like weekly that people are not, flipping out about it or posting about it a whole bunch, But,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it did hit some major support here. You got a couple candles just bouncing off this one level, about $2.35 ish. But what I did notice, and I believe this is new, it says incentive burned. I don't remember seeing that before. Maybe I just missed it. But what is burning the incentive?
I don't think I've noticed that before either.
Yeah, I think that's new. So $285,000 worth of it at 0.2%. So it looks pretty new.
Yeah. It's probably just from these recent moves. Yeah.
But I wonder what's burning it, or if it's being sent to a contract or something. I'm not familiar with what's burning incentive.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm not sure either, but no, I haven't seen that before either. But that's interesting. We'll have to look into that more. Yeah. Interesting. But I mean, things are, there's been efforts made to make things more deflationary on chain, or less inflationary, I guess I should say. And that's good, but we still need, retail and everybody to come into crypto. So we're waiting on that. We're going to get to some of the reasons that some of those people might be skittish right now and think that the industry is a scam because of what's going on basically entirely on Solana right now. So we'll do that now. If you guys are here and enjoying the stream so far, do us a favor and hit the like. We appreciate you being here. Hexagon Michelle, welcome in. Yellowtail, Jacobs, Hex Ladder, Connection Corporation. Appreciate you guys being here. And okay, we got to get into this like opus, this story of this meme coin called Libra that was I don't understand what the whole reason of it was to begin with, to be honest with you. But basically this meme coin that had affiliation with Argentina that oh my God, I'm forgetting is it Milei, that the president's name? Yeah.
Javier Milei.
Javier Milei. So awesome guy. I think pretty much anybody that is interested in crypto and has those ideals would be a fan of him. I mean, I remember when he got elected and he's like on stage, like making out with these hot chicks and stuff like that. He's just like a weird, eccentric libertarian type dude. But I mean, I think it's pretty much consensus that he's done great things for Argentina in the short time that he's been there. And he's a guy that supports blockchain, supports cryptocurrency, and wants, everything he can to benefit from it and be involved in it. And I think that he genuinely got caught up in not entirely knowing what this was that he was getting involved with. And I forget the guy's last name, but this Hayden dude, I'm sure somebody will probably help in the chat because this has been just crazy news over the last couple of days. But Hayden was, and we'll get to this, but he was actually involved in the launch of the Melania token on Solana, and knew some things about the Trump token having backdoor deals for people before it actually launched on Solana. But President Milei tweeted support about this, and again is interested in crypto. Since all of this stuff happened, and we saw the token rug, and Hayden basically collect, I think he's up to having $100 million as a result of this right now, of other people's money that he took out of it. Milei deleted his tweet and doesn't want to be associated with it, obviously, understandably. But this Hayden kid that basically rugged the token was on the CoffeeZilla interview, and he's a dude who, I mean, many people believe he's a Fed informant, basically, but he does his, own interviews about scams and stuff like that. That's kind of what his shtick is. But he did like an hour and a half interview with a kid that I listened to all of that was just like, I mean, the kid is just incriminating himself in the interview over and over and over again. Saying things he didn't even need to say, which he's even stated that as he was doing the interview. But it was really interesting because it took an interesting turn. Like, first off, CoffeeZilla asked if Hayden was part of the Melania launch. He was very hesitant to say anything and said that it could get him in huge trouble. And then he admitted that he was. Um, and he claims that he took no money out, but then he also says about the Trump token launch, which, remember, these tokens, Trump and Melania and that stuff was launched before Trump took office. It was prior to him being sworn in or anything. Remember, they had that crypto ball that night, the Saturday before the election, I think it was.
Right.
Friday or Saturday, yeah.
The inauguration, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Friday before the inauguration where that launched. And apparently there were some insiders that got to buy that token before it actually hit Solana. And I think they might have been at that crypto ball. So he admitted to that. Then here's the biggest bombshell. And this is exactly why I think that Solana is probably done for this cycle. And I don't mean that, like, obviously it's going to exist as a blockchain, but it'll probably even pump again whenever everything else does really hardcore. But as far as it being the main player, I think it's completely entirely done and has marks on it that are never going to leave at this point. Because one thing that this Hayden kid was saying is that he was confused that these big buyers were coming in that he didn't understand and like sniping the prices of this token, these like gigantic wallets buying up this big supply. And he had no idea what was going on. And then it's discovered that Solana DEXs, Meteora and Jupiter are the ones doing it, like wallets that are affiliated with that. So DEXs, decentralized exchanges, getting involved in this thing and trading it. I think, yeah. Do you have the summary up? My bad, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
I'm probably just kind of saying some of it. So yeah, Moonshot, Meteora, and Jupiter admit to knowing about Libra beforehand. All claim no insider trading was done by their teams. Of course, they're going to claim that. All claim proper listing procedure was followed. Lots of rumors of leaks to insiders on previous launches linked to Kelsier and Meteora. Meteora CEO so they have a CEO, seen commenting on posts with Kelsier Ventures weeks ago. Solana ecosystem, this is obviously the price has gone down. Solana's down about 10% since the launch. Lots of commentary that this is the end of Sol. Casino for now. ETH and BNB have begun to outperform. Many Sol DeFi coins down. I mean, a lot of like Murad's meme coins on Solana are down 80 to 90%. They're fucking crushed. Many Solana memes and AI, I mean, maybe since this happened, but they're way, way down right now. So this is like a pretty big black eye. And, you and I were talking about it off air before the show started. I mean, this is really bad for Solana, and I think that they're just showing themselves for what they are to be, or at least the users of the chain are showing themselves for what they are to be, which are a bunch of like short-term pump and dump jeeters that have no interest in cryptocurrency, don't even understand what cryptocurrency is, and are just here for a quick pump and dump, basically. And it's not a condemnation of meme coins at all. Not at all. I think that they have their place in the market. They clearly do. It doesn't matter what I think or any of us think. They do. I own some. I think you've owned a couple anyway, Ewok. I mean, they are here. They're here to stay. But Solana is a different brand. It's kind of the prostitution ring type brand where, a bunch of unsavory characters that are here to pump and dump, basically. So I don't know. This is a complete entire mess. I didn't even get to the Dave Portnoy angle on this, why that fucking idiot is still here and doing all this stuff. I have no idea, but we're going to get to, because he's choosing to, but we'll get to that in a minute. But what do you make of this whole story and like what it means for Solana basically in this cycle?
Well, what we were talking about before we even started was, I had mentioned that I really think that a lot of this is what kicked off the meme season and kind of got people in a bad place. They're like thinking that, hey, the bull market's here. Look at Solana. Look at it run. Then we come to find out that it's a lot of insider trading and a lot of, market maker manipulation, people getting in early, just dumping on other people's heads. All this stuff happens, and it still seems that no one cares. We know Solana, you mentioned it earlier, it shuts down. It's been probably off 15 times. No one cares. So yeah, this is the shady side of town is kind of how I put that analogy in. And, it's where you go to have a good time, and what happens in Solana stays in Solana. Kind
Exactly.
of,
There you go. Exactly. Pretend you don't have a
because
family for the weekend. Yeah.
exactly, But what I was saying was, I think this kicked off a very false sense of bull market when it really shouldn't. We weren't ready for it. Like, it wasn't the right time for it to happen. It was very inorganic. It was very manipulated from the start, and people just ran with them. And now we come to find out that a lot of these were insider, the decks themselves being involved in buying up early, and then probably setting limit orders or whatever, single-sided liquidity, to just sell on people, and get out. So how much they made, who knows? Did it actually give a title in, or an amount? I
Well,
don't know
Hayden
what.
himself has $100 million from this
Right.
that he should get out of his hands ASAP,
So
but he's
this
not. Yeah.
Hayden Davis
Yeah.
you were talking about that Kelsier. Well, Kelsier Ventures is founded by Hayden Davis.
I see.
So
Okay.
that's what that name was. Um, but yeah, he himself is over $100 million from just having insider information. I can only imagine what Moonshot and some of these other guys that were running this decks have made, in profits as well. So a lot of the money comes in. People talk about other people getting rich, but there's a very, very, very small percentage of people actually making it. And most of the ones making it are these guys. So,
Right.
all in all, it was not a good investment for very many people. There weren't very many that were successful at any of these, but yeah, it's just the bad side of town. Like I said, it triggered a false sense of bull market. Usually the way things run, Bitcoin runs first, then it kind of trickles over into Ethereum, then the alt markets kind of get their share of all the profits. Well, this happened way too early, and it started to cause people to question what's going on. Why is this pumping? Nothing else is pumping. Well, now you see that it was not organic. It was not natural. There was so much manipulation happening, and the degenerate gamblers went to play. So we know what can happen when things start to run, and when Ethereum has its turn and when Bitcoin has its turn, you'll see it again over there. Hopefully, that all these people that would have played didn't lose their money. That's the big fear for me, is that people are now broke because of all this stuff that happened on Solana. So we'll have to see.
What's really bad about this, and why it's not just like, fear mongering or something to say these things about Solana, is that this is proof. I love the comparison that Sami's been making. It's like gambling at a casino. And well, I mean, you should know this about a casino anyway, is that the VIG is so high that you're going to be a loser no matter what. But this is basically figuring out that the casino is doing other things behind your back and you never
Yeah.
even stand a chance. Like, there's no reason
Right.
to play the game. That's what's
Sure.
happening on Solana now. I mean, how can you
Yeah.
trust it?
Exactly. Not only are the odds set up in their favor to begin with, but they cheat too. I don't know if you've ever seen that Mickey Mays, the professional gambler. He's been barred from just about every casino out there, but he's exposed how many different casinos cheat and how they do it and what they do. Yeah, it's not in your favor whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, but this is just proof from Solana that, if they're going to go to these lengths, what are they not going to do it with? And it's
Yeah.
different from, obviously we know more about PulseChain than anything else, but like coming to PulseChain and like buying Pika, for instance, whenever it was on its way up or something like that. Like, that these things, this would be the equivalent of PulseX, like having a wallet and manipulating the price of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the furthest thing from DeFi that you could even imagine. And it's just, to me, it's a gigantic exclamation point ending on just a big shit sandwich that has been Solana over the last year. I mean, and yeah, there are plenty of people that made lots and lots of money. I mean, clearly there's been a lot of ways to do that, but you have, like, Morad's been talking about these meme coins that are all largely on Solana. They I don't know. I mean, like, if I guess Ethereum, obviously it still hasn't run, and when it does, I imagine it'll help Solana again at that point. But like, are those things going to recover? Are they going to get to like screaming new all-time highs, because they're all totally decimated now with the rest of that blockchain? And
Yeah.
it's one of those times now where like I would ask people, like, here we are, it is February 2025. We are in 2025, but it's still early as far as a cycle end. PulseChain hasn't really done anything at all yet, hasn't pumped. Some things on it have. You expect them to do a lot more when PulseChain does pump. But where would you rather be right now? Like in Solana, where it looks like the jig is up in many ways, or in an ecosystem that has not pumped yet, because what else has other than Solana and Bitcoin,
Yeah.
So
Nope, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. My fear was, again, just that a lot of people lost a lot of economic value that they could have put into other things. But again, it happens every cycle. There are things that take people's money. There are scams and rug pulls and interest contracts that go belly up, just straight up Ponzi's.
yeah.
And it happens. It's part of the learning cycle for a lot of new people. So yeah, it's just same stuff, different day.
And to get to another just wild angle of this is the Dave Portnoy involvement. There you go. You've been really on it with pulling the stuff up, and I'm about to go to it. So he somehow is involved with this Libra thing as well. He knew about it in advance, and I think was given like $4.5 million that he sent back or something like that. And then he's all over Twitter tweeting about like, Two weeks ago, I didn't even know how to use Phantom Wallet, and now I'm here in this international scam. Like, I don't know how the hell I get in these situations. Like, doing the whole like dumb American sports guy. Like, it's just a tired act. Like, he's a bullshitter. And now he's literally, I mean, he's actively defrauding people like every single day in crypto right now. It's just a wild, weird turn. But he plays dumb all the time and pretends he's just this aw shucks guy that got caught up in it and all these things. So he's doing that whole act. Then he launched his own jail stool ticker last week that Kraken the exchange lists for some reason. And I don't know, it's down 95% or something like that. Then he launches a token called Greed. Okay, and there are multiple. So which tweet are you on right now? So this is okay.
Well,
yes.
Okay.
Well, okay. I'm rewinding, and then we'll go to what this is. So then he launches Greed, which is, I don't know, some other new token. He claims that he's not going to sell either of them. Right there on the screen right now, he says, just put all of Greed. So there were even, I didn't send this to you, but it's okay. He had other ones even earlier, like he launches Greed. He says, I'm not selling this anytime soon. There's probably a screenshot of it like in this thread somewhere. Then hours later, like not a day, he says, just put all of Greed into jail stool, which I'm never selling because I said I wouldn't sell. If you scroll down, somebody probably screenshots whenever he said, I'm not going to sell Greed anytime soon. Somewhere, I don't know. I saw it somewhere the other day. Oh, right here. Here, that's him like saying that he's going to sell. Basically, yeah. There you go. I'm not selling it anytime soon. Why would you? And then he's selling it immediately. I don't know. So then he does that. Then he makes a Greed 2 like a day later or something. I really don't understand what the guy is doing. Then he has that other tweet that says like, the only time I ever said anything is that I wasn't selling jail stool. I never said that about anything else, even though he clearly did. This is one of those cases of like, are you just epically, unbelievably stupid, or just lying and taking advantage of everybody? And I think it's the latter of the two, obviously. But why is this guy this confident that something isn't going to happen to him? That's what I find odd. And between Libra and the Argentina thing, and now this happening on Solana as well, I just have to think that people are beyond sick of the scamming. Like, I understand a lot of these people are just here for like quick pump and dumps and don't really give a shit about crypto, but like, this is getting to a new low where it's like, do you not want something legit? Like, and we've made fun of utility coin maxis and stuff over the last couple of years. And it's like they're old school boomers and stuff like that. But now this short-term crap is just getting so bad that even the most short-term mindset people have to be sick of it. So what do you make of this Portnoy thing and all that?
You've got celebrity involvement anytime that happens. And I think these guys all know that the administration is changing, right? They've come out and basically said, look, we're backing off of a lot of these cases. Maybe they think that that's their free pass to go do this shit. Like, I don't know. You had the Haktua girl that and I don't even know that it was so much her or the devs that really did that one. I think she's probably not smart enough in crypto to know how to rug pull or do anything.
Right.
They probably just promised her a cut and said, listen, we can make a lot of money here in a couple days. Are you in? Can we use your name? And she said, sure, whatever, not realizing that people were going to get hurt.
Right.
Portnoy's not stupid, though. He's been in this game for long enough to know how it works. So, yeah, I mean, it's just irresponsibility. And I think it's them taking advantage of the role change at the SEC. Doesn't mean that, they're not enforcing things, because, I still think this is why they're out there. This is what the SEC should be going after, is people like this that are promoting stuff and then just literally cashing out and stealing everyone's money. So, that's my opinion on it. I don't know. I haven't even been following it. I don't get involved in any kind of celebrity token, really. So yeah, it's sad. It is sad to see, though.
I guess my point, like, I don't really care about Portnoy. Obviously, he's going to be irrelevant when this is all said and done. But, like, don't you think that even, again, the most shortest of short-term people that maybe came to crypto just for a quick buck and don't really care about crypto at all, once they've already kind of gotten into this, and you alluded to this earlier in the show, that you have to be burned like once somehow, and I think we all do in some form or fashion.
Sure.
But don't you think they're like getting into this, they're getting involved in it, and they see what maybe it could be, and they get exposed to this trash? Don't you think they're going to want to come back and see, like, is there anything, actually worth it in this industry, and come to something like PulseChain or Hex, or understanding what a DEX is and what PulseX does? Like, don't you, or even if it's stuff that's built on Ethereum or something, anything that isn't just short-term meme scams, don't you think there's going to be holdovers there? And especially, I mean, we know the people that are in Solana are going to be selling the lows of it. I mean, they're probably holding now, and I know they have like all the conviction in the world, and now they look like the psychos, and they're going to continue to look like the psychos like we've looked like for the last 4 years. Difference is we haven't gotten our pump yet, but they're going to look like that. And I wonder, because they all are such Jeter short-term people, they'll probably just sell the Solana lows as it continues to dump here, and rotate into ETH, rotate into Pulse, rotate into whatever Phantom's new thing is or whatever later on,
Yeah, the problem with that is, though, they've got so much less economic energy than they had to begin with, unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, all we can do is continue to be loud, continue to preach that, listen, our founder hasn't sold anything. He's not going to sell anything. We don't have VCs dumping on your heads that are unlocking tokens every other day. We don't have a lot of those negative externalities. Yes, we have some whales. Yes, they have big bags. Every chain does. But, it's not massive amounts where, the company itself is having to sell to pay for buildings and staff and things like that. Like, this is, it's a totally different organic chain that is I feel like a safer haven. Yes, we haven't pumped yet. Yes, things are down, but they're down everywhere. But people, unless they've sold, haven't lost out on anything. You know, it's kind of like that old Trevon thing. Well, you haven't lost your money. I don't know if you remember that thing where
Yeah,
BitConnect went down, but you
yeah,
haven't technically lost your money if you haven't sold. But
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, all we can do is just be um, consistent, which we've been. You know, hell, we're going on what, 3 years now of you and I streaming, or at least
Four,
creating 4 years.
four in September. Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, we just need people out there that are doing the same thing and continue preaching that this is the right place to be with the right founder. We've got to wait for this case. Something's got to happen soon. You know, we got to wait for Auntie Carol so that the chains and the shackles can come off.
I really don't think it's that at all, to be honest with you. I think it's just purely Ethereum. I mean, I think if you were putting weights on those things, I think it's about 90% Ethereum, maybe 10% that. I just don't think that that's going to do very much. I mean, yeah, maybe for short-term pumps or whatever, but I mean, ultimately Ethereum being 8K or something is going to be different than like, do they have jurisdiction or not? Are we going to, you know what I mean? I just don't think anybody cares.
I still think there's money on the sidelines that it's waiting. Waiting for a verdict, waiting for Richard to start streaming, waiting for, I mean, there's several things that will happen if that first scenario plays out.
So, yeah. I think in the short term, yeah. I just don't think that where Pulse will ultimately go is so much influenced by that case or anything. I just don't think it's going to matter that much. That's just my opinion, but yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what the Solana people do. I mean, I think it's going to be, I do look forward to, you know, anybody that is scamming and doing insider trading like that. I want to see them get their comeuppance, obviously. So we'll see how that goes over the course of this year. But yeah, they definitely have seemed to have an irrational good last year. So we will see what happens with Solana. But if you guys are here and enjoying the stream, do us a favor, peg that like button to $1. We appreciate you all being here. Out of the news of potential good, we were talking a little bit about Elon and Doge, not the coin, but the Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah. Monday, President's Day. This was very cool. So I know I sent you that one. Yeah. Doge creates an SEC specific account. So Doge SEC. It was legit. Richard Hart tweeted this later in the day that it showed Elon was following it and stuff. I mean, I think we all pretty much figured it was legit from the get-go. But there you can see the tweet. They said, Doge is seeking help from the public. Please DM this account with insights on finding and fixing waste, fraud, and abuse relating to the Securities and Exchange Commission. Well, it was a little slow to start because I was off that day and was kind of, monitoring. And at first, it was kind of just littered with like XRP stuff and everything. But old Hexo got in there and Coffee got in there and all the big time Pulse people, all of us DMing, responding, retweeting. And PulseChain really seemed to have dominated this thread, honestly. I mean, it's, I know, I forget who tweeted it out, but there was actual statistics about the algorithm and who was getting the most impressions and engagement. And there was a point where Hexo's was top 5, at least, in the entire thread for engagement. He's done a great job just building a following and getting involved in like other topics and stuff. But yeah, he has 2.8K likes on it, 756 retweets, which seems crazy, 70,000 impressions, 169 comments on it. So, yeah, him, and obviously I'm sure our feed of it is going to be a little bit tailored to what we want to look at. So obviously him and Coffee are right there at the top. But obviously these tweets are going to be seen by people, and I'm sure that they're noticing the Richard Hart thing and noticing the trend with PulseChain and Hex and things like that. I guess what I would say to you is, and this I guess goes to my skepticism a little bit earlier about like, handing out of STEMI checks because of what they're looking into, but what do you think they do with this information? I mean, it's clearly bullish. It's cool that we even have a platform like this now. We didn't have anything like this, of course, under the last administration. We had the polar opposite. But yeah, what do you make of this effort? Do you think it'll really go through? And do you think PulseChain peeps are making some noise? Because it definitely appears like they are to me.
Well, PulseChain people always make noise. That is one thing we can almost always expect, is to have one of the loudest communities. People, that's why people think we're bots.
Right.
I've seen that argument over and over. It's just a bunch of bots, but It's not. It's real people. And you know, the one concern that I had was the instructions say, please DM this account. I hope people sent, you know, direct messages to them and not just made a tweet or a comment or anything like that.
Right.
I hope they followed instructions. I hope they were thoughtful and considerate with their messages. But yeah, it's amazing to have this type of platform, to this type of reach. You know, we all know that the attorneys all know each other. Elon has used this firm. Trump, his group has used this firm. So we know they know each other. They know of each other. I just often wonder, you know, I think I mentioned it to you, which I think we're going to talk about that too, is Eleanor's tweet that she had made.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't she mentioning anything about Richard Hart's case? Is it because it's just probably not a big account, or is it because of the stigma that goes with Richard Hart and it's kind of controversial? I don't know. We'll see. But either way, it's a great platform. It's a great way to reach out and get the word out. And I hope it does have some success. I think it will. I think it will have some meaningful impact. You know, you saw, I kind of scrolled by here earlier, but you had RH Max, who brought up the amicus brief that has over 44,000 signatures on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 44,542 when he took this screenshot. So there's just a lot of good things that come out of this when the community actually gets together with the common goal in mind. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I did send them a DM as well and sent them the nuclear herbs article, actually,
Good.
of reviewing the motion to dismiss hearing. But yeah, we'll see what comes of it. I mean, it's definitely, it's funny, you know, since we've had this administration take over and we get the announcement that Paul Atkins is tabbed as the incoming SEC chair, it's really been like a lot of good potential news, obviously, the good news that's on the horizon, but not all of it has been put in place yet. It's, you know, we have to say, like, Trump did get a lot done his first week in office, but it only has been a month still at this point. So some of this stuff, it's like, you know, how soon can we get this thing, whatever, dismissed, paused? I don't know what the hell they're thinking or what they're doing with it, but
Right.
this kind of this is definitely good and bullish regardless, and I'm glad that Elon is looking into it. But as you just segued, that does kind of lead us right into those tweets from Eleanor Tourette today. So she frequently does cover SEC crypto cases and things like that. And she updated what is going on with the SEC and why some popular lawsuits like Coinbase, Kraken, Ripple, why they are delayed and things like that right now. And to answer, like, we were talking about this, but you said, like, why is she not talking about Richard Hart and stuff? I just don't think it's one that's going to go on her radar. Like, she's just going to talk about like the big entities. You know, Richard's like a guy, you know what I mean? And they try to act like, obviously, Pulse and PulseX are his alter egos or whatever. But these are just, you know, bigger names within crypto that mainstream people are going to understand. And maybe because Richard's an individual, you know, she's just, I'm sure she is aware of it. Like, with as much as she knows, I'm sure she's at least aware of it. And as much as Hexicans like light up her posts every single time she posts. And I know Nuclear Herbs has also talked to her before to say, hey, like, you should be covering this. But
yeah,
she says on the SEC Gov, pausing ongoing litigation against crypto firms. I'm told by multiple legal sources that the SEC has been prioritizing cases with imminent court deadlines, which we had one. Well, I guess technically we didn't have a deadline. It's just waiting on her. But it says which is one explanation for why we haven't seen pause requests in the Ripple and Kraken cases. Ripple's next court deadline is April 16th, and it looks like Kraken's is March 31st. The Binance case has been put on ice until April 14th. Don't know what that is. Legilex. I have no idea what that is until April 11th. So whatever the hell that is, and April 11th, and Coinbase plus SEC agreed to an extension on the deadline for the agency to respond to Coinbase's request to leave to file an interlocutory appeal on March 14th. It's possible SEC leadership is expecting Donald Trump's pick for chair, Paul Atkins. Now, this is the interesting part that I didn't realize. For Paul Atkins to be on his way to getting confirmed by that time. In the interim, the Crypto Task Force, Congress, and the Presidential Working Group on Digital Assets are presumably working to fill the regulatory gaps that led to these lawsuits being brought in the first place. So I looked down in the comments because I failed to realize, and I guess it should have been obvious, that Paul Atkins being confirmed, needs to happen just like Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, all these other people in different roles have to be confirmed. And I saw in the comments that for reference in 2021, Gary Gensler's didn't happen until April. So I don't know. I mean, we still got maybe a month or two until Atkins is. Yeah, here's her. There it is, right there. Is there a date when Paul is due to join the SEC? No concrete date yet. He needs to have the hearing before banking GOP and then get voted on by the full Senate. Not saying the timelines will be the same, but for reference, Gensler had his hearing in March of 21 and was confirmed in April. So I don't know that means we're waiting for that. And that might be another reason that the RH one, she's never mentioned RH, but another reason that it might not have been mentioned is she was talking about ones that have a specific court deadline coming up. We're in the midst of Judge Carroll obviously giving an opinion on the motion to dismiss. So clearly something beyond just her going over the proceedings from that day is going on here. I mean, we are at what, 110 days or something since that took place. I mean, I don't think that there's much more that she needs to be looking into. I think it's more so that the de facto SEC right now and the Crypto Task Force are undergoing changes. We're waiting for Paul Atkins to be confirmed. I think it's all of that stuff together. I don't think it's just that she's undecided. So anyway, what do you make of this? I mean, it's interesting that we get a timeline on the Atkins thing anyway. Yeah, that I was unaware of. But yeah, what do you make of this as far as the other cases and what it could mean for Richards?
Well, so there is no deadline really for us. They say on average, Nuclear Earps was saying this, that you get a decision between 60 and 90 days. The one thing that I have heard though is usually in the case of a dismissal, they have to be extremely thorough with their response, so that there's no reason to have any kind of blowback based on the decision. There's a lot of case law that has to be looked up and researched and things like that. So if anything, I think the longer we wait, the more bullish it is for this case to get dismissed. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, on top of everything else that's happening, we are small fish in the pond. We, as you said, Ripple, Kraken, Binance, Coinbase, those guys are going to get the attention, and they're going to get the attention probably first. But I think it's bullish. I don't really see the delay as being a bad thing, other than we're waiting for something to happen. You know what I mean? That's the bad thing about it, is that we've just been waiting for what seems so long to hear something, to hear anything from her. But yeah, I'll wait till April. I really don't care. Right. Usually, like I said, the bull market would have started by then. And I hope that it doesn't affect it. It just could be delayed a little bit. I think a lot of this stuff is going to affect the bull run in general. So once you see some of these cases getting thrown out or just dismissed, it could really trigger a lot of good for the bull market. So mm-hmm. I think this is completely bullish. I don't see anything negative about it. And again, I'm perfectly fine waiting till April to have things really start to pop off, when all the dominoes kind of fall into place at that time.
And I don't know that we'll have to be waiting till April. I mean, obviously Atkins getting confirmed, the sooner the better. But I think that with Hester Pierce and the Crypto Task Force in the meantime, like, their whole purpose is to kind of, be able to handle this shit in the meantime.
Right.
I mean, that's what I think Hester's there for. And she seems to be favorable of like better or any crypto policy. So I don't know. I doubt that. I doubt that the RH case has ever been super high on the SEC's priority list. I mean, you can tell by the complaint, it's not good.
Not at all.
The judge basically said it herself. So, I mean, they don't give much of a shit about it. We've always known it was just a shakedown to get money from RH, and that is just probably why these other cases that are big name cases that people write articles about and stuff like that are just kind of higher on their priority list to deal with, I guess. And they do have deadlines, unlike ours right now. So
sure,
yeah.
Some of these have legitimate deadlines, which we don't. We're just waiting for a decision. And I'm curious to know. Maybe Nuclear Herbs we'll tweet them or something and ask. But what is the longest that somebody has had to wait for a decision? I know this is very out of character for everything because of the change in administration and because of the easing up of the rules in general on all digital assets. And there's a lot of things playing in our favor right now that probably haven't happened, but I'm wondering what the longest is for a decision of this nature to be made. I'm curious.
Well, I'm sure you've got so many examples because, if you're talking just broadly any civil cases, I imagine there's something really asinine out there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a very long period of time. But maybe in terms of SEC specific civil cases, maybe there's something that we could find out there. I'm not sure. But I think this one's just really unique, though, because you don't really have a lot of them where the plaintiff comes back so hard and is just filing to dismiss right away. Usually you're kind of moving on to the next step prior to that. So maybe there's something you could kind of call a precedent to this, but it's just very unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That is a good question though. Yeah. To get an idea.
Yep.
But yeah, good stuff coming from Eleanor. Be cool if she covered the Richard one as well. But yeah, we'll see. At least we have a timeline about Paul Atkins, and we'll see what happens with those other cases here. So, I don't know if this will end up be where we finish off, and I know this is more out of the drama sector, but I do think it's worth covering here as we look at like some kind of OG hexagons that are likely whale status right now and just kind of mixing it up a little bit on Twitter over the last week. You don't have to pull anything up for this because the first part is just kind of some stuff that I wrote down that I saw last week. And the only reason I bring it up is not to like get into like people arguing and stuff like that, but to get into like the validity of it. And if the guy is serious, what it could mean for people, because some people read certain things like this on Twitter and don't know how to take it and don't even know who Rockham Rochelle is. You know what I mean? For example, or like some people that were kind of whales from the last bull run that, maybe these people just got here via PulseChain, or maybe they were introduced to it by Tang Gang, or maybe they, heard about the PDI thing somewhere and they're like, whoa, what is all this about? Or maybe they did hear about Hex, but they just got into it late or whatever. They're not aware of like some of these people from the first cycle. So obviously Rockham has been kind of a controversial, I'll say, figure for some time. We just had RG3 on for a bit last week, and I know they're good friends, and Rockham has talked about like, what his expectations for the ecosystem is. We know that he's done, very well in this ecosystem, and I'm sure other ventures in his life, obviously too. But over this last week, it was interesting. So he's been like uber bull posting about incentive token, like since some of the inflation numbers have been slashed, and we've been seeing ink obviously climb up in price. But he started just like uber bull posting about all of a sudden like, hey, I see incentive to over $200 and stuff like that. And inevitably there are people, because what we're seeing here is like as ink was moving up and as everything was moving up, you just start to see big sells back down. And people have looked into like Rockham's move on the blockchain before and like noticed big sells by him and stuff like that, which, he's entitled to do. Anybody is entitled to buy, sell, whatever they want, really. But the replies are just a bunch of people saying that he's drumming up exit liquidity by these tweets with these new crazy bull posts and stuff. And again, like I said, somewhat fair comments based on like some of the history and stuff like that. Where it kind of went sour, though, and I think there's probably two sides to this coin, but eventually in the replies, Rockham was replying to a lot of the people saying that like, yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but like, I'll be dumping on your heads. Like, you're new at this game. I'm not. You're next. I'm going to dump on you, blah, blah, blah. Like mixing it up with these people. I guess what I would ask to you, Ewok, because you have more of a frame of reference for the guy than I do, even if yours isn't huge. But I guess I'm just wondering, like, how serious do you take comments like that? And do you think, I mean, to me, it's a pretty bad look whether he's like kind of just messing around and maybe he's getting annoyed with the comments. So he's saying that as just his way of fighting back or
Yeah.
whatever. I think it could be that he's just sick of it, but it also is kind of a bad look, I feel like, as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you
Yeah.
make of that?
Well, so people that have watched his wallet know that he's been dumping incentive for a long time. They've been providing liquidity and just dumping it. I think to the tune of $20 million has been bridged out of Ethereum or back onto Ethereum from the sale of incentive. Well, just recently, when all the inflation got cut, they started buying. They started buying $2 or $3 million worth, or several $1 million worth of incentive, and then that's when he posted about how bullish he was on it. So again, guy is good at extracting value. They've extracted over $25 million from the chain, I believe, as Overwatch partners. You know, it's his company. That's where he got the first Lambo, I believe, was the riches from early Hex. It's fine, whatever. People will make money, and we can't stop them. You can't be mad at people for making money.
Right.
However, I don't like it when somebody with influence like that buys a bunch and then, you know, they'll start tweeting it so that when they say, I see it going to 200, that probably means they're selling about halfway on that. So
Right.
about $100, they'll start dumping. So, you know, they have ulterior motives, and, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't mind people making money. I don't care what they do with their money. I just don't like to have people misled with a top call like that, and then, you know, they exit halfway there. So it is what it is. And yes, I know there were some initial investors that were from the Middle East somewhere that got upset with the way Richard was acting with the whole um, marketing techniques that he was using, and they got out. They pulled their money. So yeah, there's a big backstory. And then, you know, recently I've heard that there was a private group that was on Telegram. All of that got shut down and said, you know, you've got to apply now to be part of the cabal group or whatever. We will be interviewing people and making sure you're on the up and up. And we're going to teach you how to extract value and move this to another chain, because he doesn't like the way he's been attacked by people who don't like what he's doing. I you know, whatever. I don't know how many people he'll take with him, but, you know, it is tough to see that. It's tough to see that their plan is to extract as much value, teach everybody else to extract as much value, and then leave town. Like,
I will say real quick, because that was the screenshot that was going around earlier, and part of it I think was real, but I don't think it's totally substantiated that whole thing was legit. That
okay,
screenshot.
fair enough.
I know you were just describing what you saw, and that's what I saw too. But I don't know that the second part of it about like leaving the chain and all that stuff was legit. I think maybe the first part of it might have been, but I don't know that whole thing's real. But regardless, we do know the guy has been like selling ink in droves and stuff like that.
I mean, he's already extracted, I said, over $20 million from the chain to back over to Ethereum, somewhere back into stables or something. So we do know at least that much is true. Again, I don't know if any of what I saw was accurate or not, but I did see it. So, you know, it didn't make me very happy.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. And I get why newer people would be totally turned off by that and not understand it, because, you know, you have to, everybody's on a different time frame. Everybody's on a different, you know, ladder in terms of like where they're trying to get with their wealth and their savings and things like that. So, you know, you see somebody like him when PulseChain hasn't even pumped yet, and obviously people are going to be upset by that. And I thought it was good that he came out and like addressed like some of the comments he had about RH when RH was doing like the outrage marketing on like different interviews and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I just think maybe it's not the best for him to be like mixing it up in the comments and stuff. And again, maybe he was just pissed off at a lot of the people like taunting him that you're just looking
Yeah.
for exit liquidity, but it just doesn't really look very good, honestly. So
Well, and he's been a kind of a flip-flopper. You know,
yeah,
when he left, he was very angry. Then when he came back, he was very apologetic. Now he's
right,
getting very angry again.
yeah,
You know, I see a very unstable online presence, and
yeah,
some people just aren't cut out to do that, to be able to take it, whatever. I mean, obviously, if he's drawing that much attention, he's doing things that a lot of people don't like. So
right,
maybe you should limit your online presence. I mean, I get you want to have a voice. I get you want to pump your bags, so that if that is your intention is to exit, but you got to be prepared to deal with the consequences of being that type of person, and be able to handle it. You know, some people just aren't able to take any kind of criticism, and like I said, he's been very vocal about getting irritated with other community members. Seen
mhm,
that all along, but it's what it is, right? I mean, there are
yeah.
different personalities out there. Some people aren't equipped to handle it, or to shut it off and not really care what people think.
Yeah. And it does seem to be a trend kind of leading into the other thing that we saw today. Ivan on Tech, every now and then, big account, smart dude. He talks or tweets about PulseChain here and there, but it's interesting because he's such a smart guy, but seems to like not, I don't think, see the opportunity with PulseChain and just have maybe because he was making money on Solana for the last year and a half or
Yeah.
whatever. But today, and this is going to continue the trend of like kind of hex OGs that are maybe not happy with the state of certain things right now, which again, in my opinion, is just because the Ethereum price is down really. But Ivan on Tech tweeted about like, hey, like Pulse peeps, I get, it's been a tough few years for you. I don't even know, whatever. Just like prices are down, but you're still there. Who gives a shit? It didn't matter. But people are obviously, it's an engagement type tweet, and people are responding to him about whatever they want to say. One of the most one tweet that was popular kind of was Motley Investor. Is this Motley? I don't remember his whole name. He was more of
Motley Investor.
yeah. So he had a pretty. I was even surprised because honestly, I've seen him kind of more bull posting here
Yeah.
the last few weeks. I think he's been a pretty staunch PDI guy. I know that he was somebody who was supporting the killing of EHEX. Maybe I'm speaking a little bit out of turn, but he liked the idea of letting it go away, essentially. But yeah, he tweeted in response to Ivan on Tech today, claiming, and here's the issue that I had with it. Like, I understand like being upset with the way things are going, or maybe not liking all the ways that Richard Hart has handled things over the last couple of years. But he was flat out in his statement claiming the things he was saying was factual. And again, I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I don't say it exactly the way that he said it. But he was saying things like that. Richard's essentially disappeared, and he said that he's done nothing for the chain since launch. That is something he said. And when he was combated on it, he said that all I'm doing is listing the facts, which are literally not facts. So that's just kind of the issue that I take with it, is he's just making shit up and calling it factual in there. And I get it. He's probably upset. He's probably upset at the hex yield being lower. I mean, that's one thing that I think we're probably underrating, is with a lot of these deflationary tactics over the last couple of weeks of cutting down the incentive. What am I trying to say?
Yield.
Inflation, as well as the hex yield with
Mhm.
longer, huge stakes from the OA. There may be people out there that already kind of made it, from last cycle with hex, that were actively living off yield with short-term, very large stakes, that are now making a third maybe of what they were making prior to that with these, these huge cuts. So I don't know. I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, was it just Motley being caught in an emotional state or something, or just that maybe his yields got cut? Or to me, it's just like red candle prices are down stuff. And again, I could say it until I'm blue in the face, but I mean, this
Yeah.
whole like SEC thing and all this other shit, like Ethereum's $2,700. That's why we suck so bad right now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know what Motley does. Like, I don't know if he has rolling stakes. If he sells yield, I don't know if he's retired. I don't know if he's still working. I don't know if he still has real estate. Um, I've always liked Motley. He's always been a really good guy. Met him in Vegas. Shot the shit with him a little bit. Um, he's always been a good guy. I feel like that was just a lot of frustration. I feel like, yeah, we haven't done anything, and Richard has been kind of non-existent. But there's, I believe, good reason for that. Like I'm 99% certain that his lawyer said, "Just shut up, don't give them anything. Like we're doing so well in this case, don't give him anything. Just don't." Like, or maybe he had to sign something like a NDA that he couldn't live stream. He did put out that video for Christmas, so that I thought that was a nice bonus that we may not get. I didn't think we would get anything until the case was completely over. So yeah, to say he abandoned it and he's done nothing, and um, people are getting a little fed up. I get it. It's part of the cycle. It's when things get frustrating. It's just another bottom signal in my mind that some of the people that have been the strongest supporters are eventually going to get frustrated, and it happens at different times for everybody. So I think that's what it was. I think you just saw some frustrations coming out. Again, I've never had a problem with Motley. I mean, I know he was part of the group that was PHEX only, sell your EHEX, don't whatever.
yeah.
Um, and I know him and some of his buddies that he hangs out with were the same way. Like Yash Deep was one of the ones, and um, I think maybe Wendy's as well. They were all in that same camp. Vince,
Wendy Tendies, is that who
yeah,
that was?
Wendy's for
Yeah,
tendies. I haven't seen
yeah.
him online
I remember that guy.
for a while. I met him as well. Really
Yeah,
good dude. Like, I talked to him more than I talked to Motley that night. But yeah, they're good dudes, and I just think the frustrations are mounting. You know, and I do believe Ivan's tweet was in response to a post of KDP's. So that's where all of this stuff came from. It's
yeah,
like, you guys deserve better, and this and that. And
yeah.
yeah, the funny thing is,
Concern
Ivan,
troll.
yeah, it was more of an engagement thing. I really think it was. Because I know Ivan was an early investor. He sacrificed. So if he sold, I'm not sure. So that's a question again. I don't know what his wallet is. I don't watch it, so I don't know if he sold out and waiting to get back in, or if he's not coming back. But he has supported the chain. His Morales thing has been very
Yeah.
involved with listing things and putting different things on for this community. So I think it was just engagement, and I think it caught some people off guard. And it is what it is. Like I said, it's all part of the frustrations that mount, that end up becoming bottom signals for the rest of us.
I totally agree. I think it's interesting just to see like kind of human behavior in the midst of it and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And obviously neither of us are big tweeters or emotioners or anything, but it again, there is nothing that can be done when the market, the spear of altcoins is where it's at right now.
Yep.
I just,
Yep.
and that's what, and in a way, I think we should all be taking great comfort in that fact, actually. I mean, misery loves company. Like, you should
Yeah.
take, like, Ethereum, it has been cucked for a year and a half. I mean, it's been horrible. Everybody's dunking on it, shitting on it. Vitalik's out there being weirder than he ever has in his life. Bitcoin only has run. All the maxis are saying that Ethereum is dead. Solana, which is the most like soulless now scam chain we know, beating Ethereum. I mean, it really is starting to feel like a big rotation back to, I know people are already using the phrase like utility season is coming and stuff like that. But it
Yep.
does feel like after the disgusting shit of the last year, and we talked about a whole bunch of it tonight, earmarked by what's happened just this past week on Solana. I feel like we are going to see that rotation back into the stuff that really does matter. There will be plenty of money to be made on memes along the way too. Definitely a lot. But I think that we've got to see Ethereum perk up. And again, maybe it won't get to the heights that people previously thought this cycle, but it was horrible last year. And I think we're going to see a bullish year for Ethereum, which in turn is going to be a bullish year for PulseChain and many, many other altcoins. So anytime you're seeing like some of that emotion out there right now and people upset, especially if it's geared specifically towards PulseChain, look at what the Ethereum price is. And if it's still, 3,500 or less, go back to bed because nothing's changing, until it starts to move up. And again,
go touch some grass.
Yeah. And take solace in that, honestly. Like, we're all going to be down until then. And I am encouraged, and Motley is entirely, completely wrong that Richard's done nothing for the chain since launch. That's laughably incorrect. And I think all these little preparatory things that we are seeing in the background right now are bullish that at least something's being done. Say what you will about like the pump tires thing, but like all these deflationary measures that have been being taken are good little preparations for when the price of Ethereum goes up and things are starting to happen,
Yep. I think those are all great precursors of actually things that have been done, things that he's able to do and control, put into place for the right time for when it happens. It's really gonna, I think, exponentially make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I couldn't agree more. So, long story short, we're just going to continue to be patient. And again, if you need to look at the Pulse ETH chart to maybe feel a little bit better, do that. Just look at Ethereum. Don't look at PulseChain prices. Whatever it is you need to do. I think you can agree, Walk. Like when I've been, when prices have been down, I've just felt better when I'm not really paying attention to it 24/7.
Yep, for sure.
That usually helps. I mean, us doing a live stream like this once a week is enough of a finger on the pulse, so to speak. I mean, I don't need much more than that for paying attention to all that stuff. So anyway, do you have any final thoughts this evening? How about, we may be, I don't know. We're going to line up the next couple of weeks, but Ewok has some things going on. And we're going to see if we're going to be streaming the next couple of weeks, or if maybe I'll make some kind of alternative plan. We're going to see here, but I'll let you say whatever you want to say about that.
Well, yeah, I'm going on vacation. I'm going on a extended cruise for quite a few days, 12, 13 days. I'll be gone. So
very nice.
We may or may not stream. I'm hoping that Broke Boy can round up some other talent and have a stream. And
it'll be hard to replace you. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to find anything that surpasses you, but
I'm probably easily replaceable. I'm not that dumb.
I will say the idea of a week to just chill is very appealing to me. But we'll see what does happen. So may plan on something for next week and the week after. We'll see what we can round up, or maybe just do like a Q&A and chill out with you guys for a little bit, or I don't know. We'll see. We'll kind of see how it goes. But Ewok going on a nice little vacay. Good to get out of our area, at least for a couple of weeks this time of year for sure. So I envy that, I will say.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to it. My daughter's looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Getting some nice Caribbean water and some sunshine.
There you go. Should be very good this time of year. We got spring on the horizon. We're a month out from spring. So that goddamn groundhog had to give us a longer winter, unfortunately. So anyway, well, that will wrap us up. We'll figure out a plan for next week. We'll figure out what we're going to do here. But we are here in spirit regardless. We're going to be here as much as we possibly can. There are lots of bullish things on the horizon. And yeah, we're just going to keep looking at that ETH price and chilling out. So appreciate all you guys being here tonight. As always, DJ Moonboy, Connection to Corporation, Hex Girl, Acid Thunder, Duke of Booze, Wall to Wall TV. Shout out. He's mixing it up in the chat tonight. 0 Day, Valiant Low Key, everybody back at the beginning that I acknowledge. Trev Newman, I don't remember you from before. You had some good comments tonight. Kevin Peterson. beyond all, appreciate all you guys. We do this. Checks my pulse, of course, as well. We do this every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see if we do it next Wednesday. We're going to try to. But for Crypto Ewok, this has been Broke Boy Crypto. We will see you guys very soon right here on the Creed of Crypto.
See ya.